Apple TV is about to debut a spin-off of its sci-fi drama For All Mankind, but Star City will be retelling an alternate history of the space race with a very different genre, according to the producers and cast. In an interview with Screen Rant's Liam Crowley, Ben Netavai, who created both shows, revealed that Star City is an espionage drama, whereas the original series, For All Mankind, leans heavily into sci-fi. It was an intentional choice on the part of the creators and producers, but it felt like a natural evolution for the franchise because of the differences between the space programs. While there was intelligence involved in NASA, I think the level of KGB involvement in the Soviet space program was enormous, the more we researched it, Netavai explained. The Soviets were very proud of their space program, Netavai added, and they went to great lengths to protect it. The whole concept of the series is a series hidden in the woods, the creator said. There are no street signs to get there. It's hidden because they wanted it to be hidden. Even the location of the space launch, in the middle of a desert, was very intentional so that it would be out of sight from the public. As a result, Star City very much feels like its own show distinct from For All Mankind, which Netavai feels was very important because he didn't want to just create a typical spin-off or a companion piece, he wanted Star City to be a different kind of show. Speaking of the change in genre, star Rhys Ifans told the producers early on that he didn't think he had ever seen a spin-off that has its own genre different from the original. Ben Netavai, I remember Rhys telling us early on in the process I don't think I've ever seen a spin-off that has its own genre different from the original. I think I will say it was intentional, but I also feel just the difference also comes from the actual differences between the space programs. While there was intelligence involved in NASA, I think the level of KGB involvement in the Soviet space program was enormous the more we researched it. This was one of the most prideful things the Soviets had, was their space program. This was so central to their power, to everything they wanted to promote and believe in. So, because of that, they were so careful with it. The whole concept of the series, Star City, is a place hidden in the woods. There are no street signs to get there. It's hidden because they wanted it to be hidden. The same way they launched from this place, Baikonur, in the middle of the desert, which also was only there, not because it was easier to get the space from, but because it was hidden from the public. So I think a lot of that element that you're speaking to, in terms of the differences between this show and the other, come from a place of the differences between their systems. This was an authoritarian regime that wanted to make sure that these cosmonauts and these engineers understood their place and understood that they were never bigger than the state. I think that was something that informed the conception of the show, and also allowed us to do a spin-off that felt like its own show, which I think was important to us as well, to not just do a companion piece but to do a different kind of show that wasn't a typical spin-off. Star City cast members Agnes O'Casey, Anna Maxwell Martin, Alice Englert and Solly McLeod agreed with Netavai's assessment about the change in genre for the new series, with Martin claiming that the espionage intelligence aspect pushes it into thriller and heartbeat territory. Even though Star City is a spin-off of For All Mankind, she sees the new show as its own, standalone drama. Anna Maxwell Martin, I think that espionage intelligence aspect sort of pushes it into thriller and heartbeat territory. I think that that's really great and interesting as a show, the ensemble effect that Matt and Ben have is so great, what they do with that, but I've always seen it as a completely separate entity. Nothing to do with For All Mankind. I think there'll be a kind of fan base, but it is its own thing in its own time, its own story with completely new characters. So, I've just seen it as a standalone drama really. Star City is completely different in tone and also in the cinematic lexicon we've built, where we're British, O'Casey explained. We've got British accents, but we're Russian, and even just the way it looks, and the brutality of it's completely different. The actress hopes that fans can enjoy this new puzzle piece in the franchise and that Star City opens up an avenue for brand new viewers as well. Agnes O'Casey, do you know what I think Matt and Ben are so good at doing? Creating shows with ensembles that just blend. The ensemble blends together, so it's so fun to watch all these different storylines intersecting, and that's great about For All Mankind, and what's great about Star City. And then what's different is I feel like, I don't know if you'll agree, it's completely different in tone and also in the sort of cinematic lexicon we've built, where we're British. We've got British accents, but we're Russian, and even just the way it looks, and the brutality of it's kind of completely different. It's very much a different shade, and very much its own show. I guess what I hope is that fans of For All Mankind will love it and enjoy that sort of puzzle piece thing. And then I also hope that people who are new to the universe enjoy it as well. Despite the fact that Star City has a very distinct tone from For All Mankind, something that links both series together is that the stories are driven by the people and the humanity, according to Solly McLeod. The humanity just happens to be set in a much darker, brutal place on Star City. Solly McLeod, it's driven by the people and the humanity. The humanity just happens to be set in a much darker, brutal place, I guess. It's a different show, but I think the characters and the humanity, the link is there really. Meanwhile, Englert found the whole concept of the space race to be very riveting and exciting, adding that it's very steampunk the way that it happened and was shot to beautifully for Star City. Nedivai and his co-creators, Matt Walpert and Ronald D. Moore, wanted the spin-off to have a claustrophobic feel to it while also making the characters feel like they're drowning in that hugeness out in space. Alice Englert, I don't think you've ever seen space quite like this before, because the way that they were putting them up there was essentially in a